And welcome back to the CSS podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and the gentleman to my left, your right, is our other host for this evening, Charlie Crawley. The third host cannot be here tonight, unfortunately. We are coming, we are coming live to you on a Tuesday evening. It's not our normal night. Normally it's Sunday evenings, but we um, had some issues Sunday. A couple of us were out doing some other things, so we decided to push it to Tuesday. We have a couple of things that we really want to talk about in the week that was with the um, the crosstown shootout, plus some portal news. Then we'll talk a little bit about the Reds winter baseball meetings. Then we'll finally wrap it up with the Bengals and Bengals two football games there. We had a great. If you came for the draft, best supporting cast in sports movies draft, we're going to push that off till probably after the holidays, just because Sam's not here, and just doing that kind of a draft with just two of us would not be as fun as if we had three. So, appreciate you listening to the episode here, and if you like it, hit that subscribe for us, and um, hit those notifications, and give us a thumbs up on all your podcasting platforms. So let's go ahead, Crawley. Well, first of all, how was your week?
Oh, it was good. This past weekend, we started getting into the holiday Christmas parties and all that fun stuff. So I started. That was why I couldn't be here on Sunday. So that was cranking up, and we'll just continue now for the next 10 days, whatever it is. We're down to our last few days of work, school before get some days off, and my son from Colorado is in town, and so that's good. And so there's a lot of good things going on right now.
Yep. As we speak, my daughter is traveling back from Colorado, which her mom and I can't be more excited to see her because she gets to take care of the puppy now, and her puppy that she left with us for a month. So it's it'll be nice at 4:30 when the puppy starts whining that she has to get up with him instead of me. Um, but that's what you do for your kids. Uh, so let's speaking of kids, let's go on to the crosstown shootout where UC finally got off the snide. West can take the monkey off his back. He finally won the game. 60, what was that? 60, 68,
68, 65.
65. Xavier there for a while looked like they were controlling the game, and Fremantle sort of went up and missed that dunk or whatever, and then it seemed like from that point on, you see sort of the momentum shift to their side, and they just capitalized on that missed opportunity by Xavier. And Zach again once had a wide open look at the end of the game, like he did at half, and
Thought for
just missed
sure
it.
it was
Just
going in.
yeah, just missed it,
Just
and that
the way
happens.
the series is gone, it was definitely going to go in. So
Yeah, yeah. So and unfortunately, some bad news out of the Xavier camp with Fremantle. I think he tears ACL. I think that's what
I
it
don't.
was, or was it?
I haven't seen exactly what it was. I just
Well, Miller
some knee
said that
issue.
he's out for the year. I thought she said ACL, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. You can look it up. I don't know if anything's come out yet about it, but I know he's out for an extended period of time. And if that's the case, that could hurt Xavier's chances for the tournament. I truly believe that. But let's talk about the game. So, what's your thoughts, takeaways from the Bearcats' victory, Crawley?
Um, it was not a game you would put onto a prettiest, best, most well played basketball games. You'd put that on that reel. It's pretty much. I mean, which maybe it just is what it is with the crosstown shootout. Knock down, drag out, both teams shot poorly. They actually both shot literally the same. They shot the same, made the same, and had the same number of attempts. Xavier, I think, made one more 3-pointer. I think they had one more rebound. UC had more free throws made. Xavier committed a few more turnovers. I mean, it was pretty even across the board. Just so happened that somehow in the last 5 minutes, which has not been the characteristic of this series, UC made less mistakes than Xavier did. Xavier had some pretty bad turnovers, kind of just steals that UC had. Got a breakaway dunk pretty late in the game on one. Neither team could shoot worth anything, but UC definitely was better, especially second half. UC was better in the paint. Aziz had a good game for him. I think he scored 12 points, and that's quite a bit for him. So UC made the free throws. Well, for them, I think they were 73%, and I think they came into the game shooting 59%. So they were better than norm, which was important when you win by 3. And the game was, I think the biggest lead was, I think Xavier had a 7-point lead and UC had a 9-point lead, but most of the time it was within 4 or 5 points the entire game. So it wasn't, I mean, as a more of a UC fan, it was not a fun game to watch. I enjoyed the outcome at the end, but it was not, because the whole time I'm like, UC's losing this game. There's all the telltale signs that's not going to work. I mean, they just offensively, just how much they struggled. But I guess when you're paying attention to that more than you're paying attention to Xavier, because they were struggling too. They didn't shoot any better. So, and Fremantle did not do. He only scored 2 points in the second half. Mm-hmm. He controlled the first half, but only 2 in the second half. Conwell stepped up and made some. I mean, heck, he made a 4-point play late in the second half. But I think UC had more all-around contributions, where Xavier was very dependent on just a couple guys. So I think that maybe pulled him through, to get to the win. So ends the 5-game losing streak, and they'll go back to Cintas. UC hasn't won at Cintas in a long, long, long time. Next year, but that's next year. So
that's next year.
Good news for UC. They get the bragging rights for a year. They don't have to. I mean, even Wes Miller was joking about it all, the whole press conference about, he was just tired for 364 days a year hearing people talk garbage to him, and said he figured he was probably going to run out of town pretty soon if he did not win one of these games. So it was it was a crosstown shootout type of game.
Yep. Typical
rivalry game.
Typical type of game, and you don't get the. And I think we talked about this last week. You don't get the hatred that you used to get from these rivalry games, just because, like Xavier, 8 new guys from the portal, they have no idea what the rivalry game is all about. They don't understand. So we're playing, we're in the city, that type of thing, and they don't realize, we're just 3 miles away, no big deal. But it is a big deal to the people of Cincinnati, what side of the street you're on. And
right. It was relegated to ESPN Plus this year.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I want to talk about. Is like how piss poor was the stream. ESPN.
Right.
Do better.
They must have got the Netflix producers on They must have hired them from the Tyson fight.
The pixels would freeze and just just distort.
It was better in the second half.
It was, but
the first half, I was at BW3, and it was they had 50 TVs on to the game, so just all of a sudden the TVs would just black out, and like, what the heck?
Yeah,
come on.
And I was just waiting for it to freeze when Fremantle's getting ready to shoot. That would have been epic for ESPN. But I mean, how can you put them on?
Well, since it was ESPN Plus, I think Mark the intern was running the production truck. So
at least they had decent announcers. I mean, compared to like my daughter, she's an athletic trainer, and at a FCS school, and when we watch her games, it's like one camera. It's one.
Like a high school game.
One camera, and the guys that are announcing, oh my gosh, it's like they've never done a football game. At least they had some sort of knowledge about the flow of the game and basketball in general, uh, you know, it could have been a lot worse, right? I mean, that aspect, it could have been a lot worse. And I
Right.
know a lot of people probably just muted their TVs and turned on Dan Horde with the call. So, but I guess the next question is, where do each team go from here? And let me ask
Yeah.
you this
I
first
mean,
before that.
that's a
Before you answer that, let me ask you this: Do you like? I mean, do you like the game in December? I know it's been in December here for a while, but it used to be in February.
right.
I mean, and that was the rivalry week. That was
Yeah. I liked it in February from the standpoint of that both teams were more settled by then. Like they kind of knew, they were further into the season. They knew themselves a lot better. Usually your plays a lot better by that time of the year. So from that standpoint, I think it was a better game. Um, I think the argument was, the schools themselves didn't like to put that kind of game in the middle of conference season,
right.
and especially the conferences they're in now. So from that standpoint, I can see why why they don't do it in February anymore. But personally, I liked it better as a fan in February.
Right. I do too. Okay. Um, Go ahead about where do they go next? Where do both teams go next?
Well, Xavier's got way more question marks than UC does. UC's biggest question mark is the conference they're getting ready to go into and play, and all those 20 games that are coming up that are basically every single one of them is not going to be. There's no walkovers at all. Xavier's is, I mean, where do they go from here with their best player out
Right.
potentially for the season? And the thing is now the irony for UC is that they need to root for Xavier now, because if Xavier's garbage, then the rest of this win drops out of being an important win from the standpoint of the tournament. So
Right.
the tier 2, 3, whatever it is.
Yeah. Quad two.
So they have to
Quad
root.
two.
They should be Xavier fans now moving forward. But can they come back without Fremantle? And I don't know. So Xavier's got, I think, much bigger questions to answer than you see in terms of personnel, in terms of where do they go from here. I mean, they weren't getting a lot of contributions, I didn't think. I mean, I saw them live a couple weeks ago. I obviously watched the shootout. I don't think they're getting enough contributions from enough players.
Right.
Right now they're a 3 or 4 person team, and that's about it. The fact that, I mean, they played that, I think his name's Hewley or whatever inside
Hewley.
for a
Yeah.
13. I mean, he did nothing.
Yeah.
I
They were trying to
Yeah,
bring him along slowly,
yeah,
but because Jerome Hunter, they're still. I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot, but obviously with the heart condition where
right.
you have to sit out a whole year, it's yeah. I mean, that's in your back. That's got to be in the back of his mind. That man, am I really okay if I go out here and really bust my butt? I don't know. You might not even be thinking about that, but you're human. You would think. Um, is this and that could be affecting his play or lack of play, and just being out a whole year from the game, it takes a while to get adjusted to it again.
So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Xavier got they got to play some games now and see what this is going to look like for them. UC's got, I don't think they have anything. I know they play well. Dayton Friday is going to be a tougher game than they thought that was going to be. Xavier, which shouldn't be a surprise. Dayton cleaned their clock last season, but their best players are gone, graduated, and so they thought Dayton was going to be a lesser team. But I mean, heck, they would just beat Marquette, top
Right.
10 team. They've beaten UConn. They came close to beating North Carolina. So that's going to be a tough game, and Dayton fans travel. So even though it's in Cincinnati, it wouldn't, it might be heck more Dayton fans than there are UC fans, just because it's not at Fifth Third,
Right. And
more
the kids
expensive
are on
tickets
break.
and all that stuff, and
Right.
and break. But so is Dayton on break. But um, so yeah, it'll be a good test. If, it should be if UC can get the win, should be a tier or whatever, higher tier kind of
Mm-hmm.
win if Dayton continues the way they are.
Yeah. And the to your point about Xavier, I mean, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out in a hurry because they open up Big East play, and I think it's UConn right off the bat.
Oh yeah, yeah. That might be their.
Villanova.
Is that their next game? UConn.
Yeah, I think it's. I think. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah. Let me. I'm pulling it up here. Yeah, they got UConn at UConn. Okay, here's
What a way to
Xavier's.
start it.
Here's Xavier's next. So they're UConn, and then they got Marquette at home, Seton Hall, Georgetown, St. John's, DePaul, Villanova, Marquette again.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, on paper, UConn and Marquette were probably the top two teams
right.
preseason wise. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, UConn, defending two-time champ, they need to be up there until somebody knocks them off. All right, we're going to move on to UC football news, portal news, actually. And, a couple of, just saw, got a wide receiver from Texas A&M. I think it was today that he just.
For UC, they did?
UC, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I came across one of my Twitter feeds, and
yeah, I know they're searching big time for receivers and defensive backs.
yeah,
That's been the two they're emphasizing the most, and linemen, offensive linemen especially.
apparently.
So I know they got a couple offensive linemen already. I know they got a cornerback from Coastal Carolina.
Right. They got
I didn't know about the Texas A&M thing.
Old Dominion, and then they've got the I think it's a guard or offensive lineman from Ball State there, Tayo. He was from Greenville, Ohio.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
But as you're trying to find some of that stuff,
Yeah.
Is it Royer, the tight end, said he's coming back for another year. So you have quarterback, tight end, weapon back if Satterfield uses them more in the last, than he did the last 4 games of the year. You got a couple of, maybe a wide receiver from Texas A&M if the reports are true. And, you have a couple of offensive linemen, defensive rusher. UC is doing some things necessary in the portal. Now, still not happy with the recruiting class that the high school recruiting class. Not a whole lot of Ohio kids on there, Cincinnati kids especially. I know that hurts the fan base a little bit because they want to see a Cincinnati kid play for the Bearcats, and so Satterfield's got to work his magic in the portal, and hopefully that translates to you got to go seven wins next year. I mean, we don't know what the schedule's going to be.
At least 7.
Yeah, they got to go at least 7. I mean,
yeah, I
think 8.
Okay. I think 8 is needed.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they have another, if they squeak in like 6 and 6,
right,
it's not going to be good. Not going to be good.
Yeah, the A&M kid. Yeah, Cyrus Allen is his name.
Yep. Okay.
And then they got another kid, another receiver, Jeff Caldwell, played for Lindenwood, but said he had offers from Oklahoma State, Georgia Tech, Memphis, Virginia Tech, Kansas. So they got 3 receivers actually now.
Okay.
But they've added two offensive linemen and at least one, maybe just one defensive back so far.
Okay, so they're making progress, and we'll keep you updated on all of that. Latest portal news here is the portal, I think, runs through the 28th.
I think so. I think you're right.
So then, and that's the whole nother, that could be a whole nother topic for us to discuss about, the portal. And when it opens, and what it does to these bowl games and even the playoff games where the backup quarterback for Penn State transferred out because I believe, I mean, there is an exemption for teams that are in the playoffs. At least it was last year for the four teams that were in the playoffs, that they had an extra week to get into the portal and get in. But a lot of these colleges, you have to be enrolled by a certain time in order to be eligible
Well,
scholastically.
eligible for like spring practice and stuff
Right,
to be able
right,
to join the team for
right,
the spring.
exactly. So that's that right there. The NCAA. I don't know. I mean, so
Well,
we could talk about
yeah,
that if you want right now, or we can save it
yeah.
for
I
a
was
little
just, I
bit.
was just gonna say. I mean, the NCAA's caught in a tough place there because you know you move the portal later. Well, then you're running into that issue of a
Right.
kid needing to start by like UC starts whatever second week of January or whatever they start. So do you need to be enrolled by then? That the playoffs. I mean, the championship game is in January, right? I assume.
Yeah, January 20th, because
So I mean,
it's late.
how do you those teams in the semifinals probably are after January, whatever.
Well, January 1 is the second round.
Yeah,
No, yeah, yeah,
yeah, the quarters. So the semis are probably like the eighth or ninth or whatever.
hmm
So yeah, you're running into all. What do you do with those teams? The players there that want to transfer, going up against trying to start second semester. I mean, I don't want colleges making decisions like the academic, the real part of the college, making choices
wait,
depending on
wait a
these
minute, wait a
stupid
minute, wait a minute, wait
transfers
a
and
minute.
stuff like that.
There's
So
not a whole lot of real choices going on with football players in academics. So,
no, but I'm saying I don't want the college to say, "Oh, we're going to start our second semester on February 1st now," because that way we can
okay,
accommodate the
right,
freaking college football.
yeah,
I mean, you almost need to the point where college football players just go off. They don't even go to school anymore. It's just
mm,
it's like minor league baseball,
yeah,
and they just play football. And then you don't have this fake college stuff, which is what's happening right now. For especially,
or
I'm
anybody,
talking like the
yeah,
the top 40 teams or 30 teams, kind of stuff.
super league team, yeah,
Exactly. So I mean, they're at some point they're actually supposed to go to class and get grades and everything and whatever. So
hmm
it's just kind of, I mean,
it's all
to
a
me, it's
farce,
right. It
all a
is.
farce.
Yeah, it is a farce. So just stop making it a farce and just they're just these college football teams. These colleges sponsor their
Hmm
football team, and that
Right,
they don't go to class. They don't. They just are, like I said, minor league baseball, but it's sponsored by Auburn or sponsored by Ohio State. This team and this other team is Washington and whatever. So
hmm
and the colleges get the money off of it. And your players are getting money now too. So then you wouldn't have to worry about second semester starting. You wouldn't have to worry about any of that
nope,
stuff.
nope, not at
You
all.
could
And
do
then
the
you can
transfer portal as soon as the championship game is
is
over.
over, right? Exactly, and that's what Lane Kiffin. I don't know if you saw his comments. He was like on his, like it's the dumbest thing ever. And when these kids are, because what was it, Marshall
Mm-hmm.
canceled, and that's where UC thought maybe they had a shot at getting, because they were next on line to get to that bowl, but no, they went with Lafayette, Louisiana, because that's where the bowl is. So it's like, yeah, cut out travel time. We don't have to pay UC any more money to
Well, I
go
think
there.
they were
So
the team that lost to Marshall too, weren't they? In
they might have, it might have
in
been,
whatever
yeah,
that is, Sun Belt or
Sun
whatever
Belt, yeah,
conference they're in.
right. But Lane, 25 guys enter the portal and they can't even field a team. So that's
Correct.
why
Yeah.
Marshall's out. And, you know, Lane Kiffin he's like, the NFL doesn't have free agency
Every
right at
every
right at,
season.
yeah.
Well,
He
that
goes, they don't have it right as soon as the playoffs start. They don't say, we're you free agency starts. Let's go ahead. And then people are jumping ship. They wait until right before March, right before the start of and they can't sign until the start of the new league in the middle of March. Um, so yeah, I mean,
well, the other thing where you can't compare it to the NFL is college is every year you're a free agent.
right,
The NFL, you're not. That's
No.
why, again, I still think you go to what I'm saying, because then they have contracts.
Right.
You know, Ohio State signs this guy to a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract. Then they can't leave. They can't transfer at that point. But, you know, but that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
and I don't know what I'm not up to date on the revenue that's coming down. I know there's something there
yeah, there's
where
revenue sharing from leagues and things.
right. So I, that's leaning towards what you're talking about is they were paying players out of that revenue sharing, paying our athletes. Maybe there does need to be collective bargaining now and all those kind of things that go along with contracts. But that'll be for another show. You know when it happens or if it happens. So we'll move on to less exciting news. The Reds did absolutely nothing at the winter meetings. So way to go, Nick Krall. You know, 2 years in a row, looking for a right-handed outfield power bat, and we got zero. Oh, but we did get a Rule 5 that we have to keep on the roster, who was a utility infielder.
I mean, I was thinking of this too. Like, I want to pull it up right now. I mean, how many? I mean, the Major League off season has become like 5 teams.
Yeah.
And the rest of the teams, I mean, it's not just the Reds haven't done anything. The only team that's done anything in their entire division is the Cubs.
The Cubs. And they just traded Bellinger today, too.
Right. Yeah.
The Yankees.
The Brewers made a trade,
right.
But, you know, they traded
Williams.
Devin Williams. So that wasn't a trade to make them better. That was a trade to save them some money.
Well,
you know, kind of thing. So
you didn't think the Corbin Burns, you know, that trade to make them better, and they still won 93 games in the division.
Yeah.
You know,
but I'm saying, like, the number one reason the Brewers made that trade was they didn't want to pay Devin Williams what he was going to be asking for soon.
Right.
So you really have, I mean, the off season is, I mean, it's kind of just, it's a little bit ridiculous to me. It's just, it makes baseball again less, you know, I just don't care about it as much. You know, the Reds don't do anything, but so do the other 25 other teams. I mean, you got the Yankee. I'm looking at the standings now. Yankees have done something. The Red Sox have done something. Blue Jays kind of. I mean, they made a trade. Orioles signed some old Japanese pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, the Guardians haven't done anything. The Royals, the Tigers, the Twins, the White Sox. I mean, that whole entire division.
The Royals traded for
Jonathan India.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, so do the Reds, Brady Singer.
Brady Singer. So
but in reality, that entire division's done nothing. The AL West, I mean, even the Astros haven't really done much. I mean, they're traded. They're one of their best hitters away.
To the Cubs. Yeah.
Right, to the Cubs. Astros, Mariners, Rangers, Athletics, Angels. Hell, the A's have picked up a free agent. So it's just, I don't know. I was listening after the Juan Soto, some people talking about it or whatever with the Juan Soto contract, and I guess baseball's contract, the player contract, whatever, is up in 2 years. The what do you call it? The collective bargaining agreement is up in 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, how can the 25 owners not just shut it down and say we're done? We're not doing this anymore. And we either have a salary cap or we're not playing, or will not be baseball anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
because the owners are greedy and they're making money.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean they are. I mean,
well,
look at the Reds. Well, I mean,
they are making money, but they ain't making money like Steve Cohen and the Yankees guy, and they have no chance. I mean, you have no chance.
But yeah, I mean,
or very little chance.
Very little chance of making money. Making a lot.
No, I'm talking about being successful on the field.
Well, yeah, but it's baseball. I mean, crazier things have happened, right? Look how long it took the Dodgers to win again. I mean, the World Series.
Yeah, but they always made the playoffs.
They always made the playoffs. Yes.
I would take that. If the Reds made the playoffs every year and won one playoff series every other year and made to the World Series every fourth year, I'd be happy about that.
Yeah, probably so, but we still find something to complain about the Reds not winning enough.
Yeah, sure, but not to the extent of now where it's just.
Well, now we just have apathy towards the Reds. We're like,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
I thought about that, like, too. Like, what would it be like to be able to be a fan of a legitimate organization?
Well, we had that little segment where we said, we can't be fans, changing our allegiance, and you went with the Dodgers and
Right, because I want to know what it's like to root for a team that cares, for an organization that cares, and will do whatever they have to do. I mean, break rules if they have to.
yeah,
The Shohei Ohtani contract's ridiculous.
it's it,
Um,
it
so
that should not be allowed. I mean, if you're going to defer
yeah,
money, it should only be less than.
they deferred money on everybody they're getting.
Yeah, I know,
So,
and nobody else is doing that. I mean,
well, but I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice to root for an organization that was willing to do that?
well, yep, it would be,
So
but
I can't stand the
my,
Dodgers.
my thing is the Reds could be doing that, and they're not. That's the thing. I mean, they could sign Santander because what they're saying is 6 years, or not 6 years, 3 years right now, like at 40, 46, 47, $48 million. Defer 20 of that. They could, or they could say, hey, we'll sign you for a little more, but we're going to defer, 20 million of that for the next 20 years. Bobby Bow contract there. But they don't want to do, they don't, the Cincinnati front offices, I don't know if it's the stench coming from the river or from the stadiums for so many years that it's clogging their brains, because both organizations operate in the same way. They sit in their offices, counting their pennies, and they're
Scrooge.
saying, yeah, they got the stack here. Bob Crabbit, here's your 3 cents for coal. You put one lump of coal in the fire, not seven. You know, that's what they are, and it to your point, it drives fans crazy because once again, they're unwilling to think outside of the box. And whether that's because it's Bob in charge and he's tight, we know Mike Brown squeaks when he walks. So it's
Right.
like, once they relinquish it, I mean, we got Phil, who knows what he might do. Um, and then you got Katie, which there's hope, I think. Don't know, but
Yeah, well, but they still operate from the standpoint of, like, they don't put enough resources into the scouting department. They
exactly.
still are using Duke Tobin, and his track record would get him fired. Almost every other organization, he'd be fired.
One good draft, and he fell into the number one
Joe
pick.
Burrow, that doesn't even count. Jamar
Right.
Chase doesn't count.
Well, it
So
does.
that's your
I would, because they were going back and forth between Penei Sewell and Jamar
yeah.
Chase.
But Panay Sewell might be the well. I mean, Chase this year's been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But Panay Sewell, some people regard him as the best offensive lineman in the NFL right now.
Right. I mean, I know. So, but
so,
I
but
take Chase.
so I'm saying he's not he's not been good. Duke Tobin has not been good. Bottom line,
No,
he's not been good.
the last three
Okay?
drafts.
The coaching staff is not good. So you can, whatever reason you want to say the Bengals are the way they are this year, or they have been the last 2 years, or whatever, beyond the Burrow injury from last year, is, if you want to say it's, development of players, well, that falls on the coaches.
Yes.
And your position coaches. Wipe them all out. They all need to be gone. I've never, has a defensive backfield ever regressed as much as the Bengals have this year? I mean, from, we had Cam Taylor-Britt as a cornerstone of this franchise.
Right.
He should be cut. I mean, he's closer to getting cut than he is being a cornerstone of the franchise. Geno Stone, terrible. And that goes on Duke Tobin, too. Again, paying money to that's 2 years in a row now. We've paid money to a bad safety.
He's coming on strong, though, these last 3 games.
Playing against a high school team, basically.
Dallas. And,
yeah. And as I predicted, Russell Wilson hasn't thrown for 200 yards since the Bengals game.
Right.
So I want to throw some of the TV when they were pumping up Russell Wilson after that game. Do they realize who they were playing against? One of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL. I can't believe they're not the worst ranked defense. There's actually someone lower than them this year.
Yes, there are. Yes.
So,
Which is like, whoo.
So we can rail on the front offices of these two franchises, but we're stuck with them, and that's it's why I'm less invested than I used to be, and I am. I'm less invested in either one. I'm just
well, maybe this will get you invested a little more. 100 days till opening day. Yes, from today, 100 days.
Who we should predict who will be the opening day starter? Hunter Green.
Yeah.
As long as he's healthy.
As long as he's healthy, yeah. Because
last year we ran Frankie Montas out there, and Hunter Green was healthy.
But that was David Bell. All right. We need took some leadership roles with us. I want to get fired so I can collect some money and don't have to. Yeah. But yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the Bengals since we've been.
Do we have to?
Well, we don't have to. We can still cut up. But yeah. So Bengals. They played Dallas on Monday night. We came to you Sunday, so they won. So
I don't even remember the Dallas game.
Yeah,
so.
27-20. That's where the biggest story of the day was Cade York dating
and his girlfriend,
cheerleader. So every time came on, they showed a picture of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and and Cade kicking it through the uprights and ching, so but other than that, I can't remember. First half, I thought I went to bed right at halftime because I was like, they're gonna lose. I don't know. And they could have easily lost that game as well. Cooper Rush could have been 2-0 against Burrow. Can you believe that? But that'd be a trivia question for you. Name the only backup quarterback that's 2-0 against Joe Burrow. And I'll take that back because every backup quarterback has got a victory against the Bengals because Lou doesn't want to do anything to let them have a cheap score. So, but yeah, so I don't remember a whole lot of that game. So we'll move on to. Well, one thing did come out after the game is Burrow's comments about thinking that they can sign T long term, and then like 2 days later, T gets rid of his agent and signs with Jamar Chase's agent. So who's the Bengals can work with. So that's it's little positive news coming in Cincinnati, and they pay T, pay Jamar, maybe get a free agent interior lineman. 1 through 7 in the draft should be all defense. I mean, just you might hit on one of them. You might. I don't know, but so thoughts on T's new agent? Can we think we can sign him?
Well, the question is, do we want to sign him?
I think we do. I mean, I think Burrow wants him. I mean, when he's out there, I wouldn't say because there were games where he wasn't out there and Jamar stepped up big time, but just having that other weapon of his caliber when he's healthy, that's the big question, right? When he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not an issue of is T. Higgins good enough and you want him on the team. It's about the allocation of money.
Right.
And
how much does he want? But, I mean, changing agents is, I think it's a positive sign that he's willing.
Because they have to do something with the defense, bottom line.
Right.
And because 90% of the players in the defense right now are not worth keeping.
Right.
And you can't get rid of all of them, but I'm saying they have to upgrade through free agency, through better drafting, which I don't have faith in because they're going to use the same people picking. They won't add to the scouting staff.
Right.
Still have Duke Tobin leading it, and he's shown he's not very good at choosing players. So they have to go to the free agent round. And I don't know how successful they really have been with free agents either.
They've been decent with.
I mean, Trey Hendrickson
And
Von Bell the first go around.
The first go around. Same thing with what's his name?
Mike Hilton.
Not Hilton, but Hilton's been pretty good. But
yeah. Wouzier.
Wouzier was, but I'm talking about interior lineman. And he left to Detroit just last year. DJ Reader.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, hit on him.
So they're going to have to do that,
but
the problem with free agency route is how expensive it is.
Well, and that's the thing. If they sign T, your offense is pretty much set, except for you need to get an interior lineman.
Yeah, we need some offensive linemen.
Right, and you can't have rookies. You got to have, unless he's the best.
So do you want to just give it to T, or do you want to spread it out to get a couple better offensive linemen and a couple defensive players?
Yeah.
That's the issue. I mean, that's the problem.
That is the issue. That's the question. But I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm not behind that offensive line. Burrow is, and if he wants T, if he's going to restructure his contract so it gets done, good for him.
Yeah, you try to think of like teams like comparable receiver duos that have been paid. The Dolphins have paid both of their receivers. Well, they're not very good this year.
No.
I don't think their defense is very good this year.
No, they're not.
The Eagles. Now they're the exception. The Eagles are really good. Maybe the best team in the NFL right now.
That's because
they've signed both their guys.
They got like 7 defensive guys from Georgia off their 2 national champions. I mean, that's they fell right into them. So yeah.
But their offensive line is significantly better.
Mm-hmm.
So they got 2. I mean, the Eagles have 2 rookie starting cornerbacks that are playing really well.
Yep. Coach them up. Got to coach them up. Right.
Bengals have not been good at that, but we keep running the same coaches out there.
Well, yep. Time to make a change. I think we'll see some changes made.
I think the only possibility of having change is if Joe Burrow demands it. Not publicly. He doesn't have to do it publicly.
No, but I think he's.
But privately, he's got to go in and say, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
You either make this change or I'm doing something else.
I'm pulling another number 9 and walking.
So
yeah. And Mike Brown be like, okay, walk. You're under contract. We're not trading you. So, all right, let's talk about the Titans game. 37-27. Entertaining from an aspect of, what was it? 10 turnovers and 26 penalties.
6, yeah.
So records there. Good job, guys. So, other than that, Will Levis.
Will Levis was the best Bengal player on the game.
And Mason Rudolph may be the worst quarterback duo in the NFL this year. Maybe. I don't know who else would be. Bryce Young, Andy Dalton. I don't know. I don't know.
Raiders pretty bad.
Well, yes, that's Dez.
You got 3 guys there.
Yeah, Ritter, O'Donnell, and
Minshew.
So that could take
Giants.
That is, yeah.
They have 3 guys.
Tommy, touchdown, Tommy DeVito.
Daniel Jones isn't even on the team anymore.
No, he's not. So that might have elevated him up a little bit. I don't know. So,
yeah. So there's some bad team. The NFL has a strong collection of really bad teams this year.
They do. And you know what's I remember looking, the preseason where they did the Madden simulation and somebody did simulations, and they predicted the Bengals to go. I think it was 7-10. And I was like, "There's no way. There's no way." And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Shit." It might. They might be 7-10, and whew, man, I would have never have. I'd have lost money on that one, but yeah. So yeah. And anything about the game you want to talk about other than we got out of there with a victory? Sam Hubbard may have played his last game, and it was an offensive touchdown, which, I don't know if that hurts us or helps us. I mean, hurts us obviously for depth reasons, but Joseph Osai.
Yeah, they can't keep him. They can't keep him at his cost.
No.
I mean, if he wants to come back, you cut him, and then if he wants to come back, you sign him to a low veterans salary.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the Titans are so bad that I don't put, again, much stock in the defense. Played better, and they got turnovers and stuff. And Will Levis is awful. Yeah. I still, my biggest fear watching Bengals games is Joe Burrow is going to get killed. I mean, he just gets beat up.
Houdinis, out there today or Sunday.
So I think it's fool's gold that he, when the Cincinnati, the Homer, reporters of Cincinnati and whatever, they didn't, he didn't get sacked very much or blah, blah, blah. Well, did you see him run around like a crazy person trying to escape? I mean, yeah, he didn't get sacked because Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. And he has to do that. I mean, he held the ball 9 seconds, the first touchdown. I think that was the second longest the whole season. And he scored a touchdown off of that. Mm-hmm. So, that doesn't mean he didn't get pressured on that play. He was pressured from every which way. He was running around like freaking Lamar Jackson, trying to escape everybody. So, I mean, the offensive line is just a catastrophe. So, that's the problem. It's, I don't even know what you do for next year. That's what the biggest concern for me is. It's not like the defensive backfield. You can just focus on that because it's no good.
Right.
I mean, all three levels of the defense you got to focus on. Offensive line you got to focus on. T. Higgins gone. You got to get a receiver. Kicker's not even any good anymore. I mean, probably the number one thing of the whole team this year has been the punter.
Yeah.
Because you knew Joe Burrow was going to be good. You knew Jamar was going to be gone, but you didn't know some rookie out of BYU was going to be good.
Chase Brown has, little.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Pleasant surprise. And, that goes right back to coaching is like, why wasn't he RB1 to start the year? Because Zach Moss was that much better?
Well, supposedly Zach Moss blocked a lot better.
Well, guess what? Chase Brown's doing a heck of a job, I think. In the backfield, getting out on passes, blocking, chipping, whatever. So. But, yeah. All right. Predictions for next week. We got the Browns. And that game
I saw they're starting DTR. I'm actually better with that. Jameis, I think, was going to torch the Bengals.
Yeah, that is true.
He probably would have thrown a couple interceptions, but he was going to throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns too.
Yeah, 400.
So,
and that game is
the Bengals
Sunday
should win.
Night. So not Thursday night.
Yes.
They moved that out, flexed it out.
Right, Sunday at 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Bengals should win. I mean, what evidence is the Browns going to win? I mean, they don't. Chubb's out for the season again.
Yep.
DTR is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. So Bengals should win. Browns will look better than they should. I mean, the Browns offense will put up some points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say Bengals are going to win. They never go crazy on the Browns defense for whatever reason. It's like their kryptonite. So I'll say the Bengals win 27-20.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say, 27-20. But I'll change it, 24-17. 24-17. Win by 7. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, since Sam's not here, we're not going to do the topic of the week that we had, which was our best sports movie supporting cast draft. So we were going to um, draft cast supporting cast based off of a sports movie, and we had categories and stuff. So we'll save that for.
I do have a trivia question if you
Sure.
still want to do that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do the trivia question real quick. See if I can get it by myself.
There you go. You will. You'll get some of these guys. So I was thinking college football. We got the college football playoff coming up. This weekend, right? Notre Dame, Indiana is Friday, and then the other three are on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be fun. So I was thinking college football. So Mac Brown just retired / got fired from North Carolina, and then you got big old Bill Belichick coming in. So that led me to think about, okay, what about winningest active college football coaches? So that is your question. I have a list. I have the list of the top. I have 8 or 9 on here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8. So the top 8.
Or by
wins, number of wins.
Number of wins. Okay.
Yeah, number of wins. Active. So Mac Brown was number 1.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's out, obviously. So now it's who's number 1, and then go from there.
I would say probably somebody either like
Division 1, by the way, or
right,
FBS, whatever.
Either Dabo or Mike Gundy.
Dabo is 3rd, and Gundy is 4th.
Kirby?
Nope.
Probably he's not in the top 10.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's not. He hasn't been around long enough. Matt Campbell?
Nope.
Lincoln Riley?
Nope.
Wow. Active. Who's the guy? Lane Kiffin?
Nope.
Anywhere? Because he's been around a lot, but different places. So Sark probably is not there either.
Mm-hmm. I don't think any of these guys, because you're naming every you're naming every Alabama assistant coach in the last decade.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these guys have anything to do with Alabama.
Okay. I was just trying to come up with people that have been multiple head coaches for a long period of time.
Well, half the list, I would say. Well, you already named Dabo and Gundy,
right,
who have not changed teams. I'd say half the list is guys like that who have not changed teams.
Who have not changed. So I'm just trying to figure out who's been at a place that long.
Including the number one. The number 1 guy has not changed teams. The number 2 guy has changed teams
a
bunch of times.
Number 1 guy, Iowa's guy.
Yep.
What's his name?
Yep.
Kirk
Ferentz. Kirk Ferentz. Yeah, he's number 1.
He's number 1.
204 wins. And the number 2 guy has changed teams a lot. I think he's at least on his 4th team.
That's why
that I know of. Probably even more than that.
Like Gus Malzahn.
No, he was there. He was like 10th or 11th or
10th
something.
or 11th. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is a good one.
Yeah, Dabo's got 180 wins as number 3.
Okay. James Franklin, he's not.
He was like number 10.
Yeah, okay. Because he was at Vanderbilt. Brian Kelly.
Yep, he's number 2.
Yeah, Brian Kelly.
194. So Ferentz, Kelly, Sweeney, and Gundy are top 4. The second group of 4 is a lot tougher. Yeah. I mean, even tougher. Because it's not any. It's a Big 12 coach. It's a coach who's been all over the freaking world. It's and then 2 Mountain West coaches.
Oh, what's the Utah's coach? Has to be there. He's probably fifth, right?
Yep.
Winningham or whatever his name is.
Kyle Whittingham. Yeah, he's
Winningham,
fifth.
yeah, yeah. Winningham,
He's got 167.
yeah. Mountain West.
Yeah, two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on those. So
Yeah. So after Whittingham, who was fifth, then it's Rich Rodriguez,
oh yeah, Rich Rod.
who's sixth, who coached at Jacksonville State this year,
Yeah, but he's back at
but he's
West
back at West
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah,
That's another
that's right.
Big
Rich
12.
Rod. Forgot about him.
And then the two Mountain West guys is Troy Calhoun, who coaches at Air Force. He's been there
Mhm.
20 years or something.
Yeah,
And then Jeff Tedford,
Tedford from Cal. Well, he
who
was
coaches.
at Cal, but
Yeah, he coaches at Fresno State now.
yeah,
So.
that's right, Tedford.
Yep.
Yeah, good one. Good one. All right. So I guess now we're just going to talk a little bit about the NFL, just real quick. I mean, we're coming up on an hour here,
Right.
which
Yep.
I didn't think we were going to be. But we just keep talking. So our show, it's our podcast. We can do that.
It will be less than an hour, everyone.
Yeah, we were hoping. Yeah, so we got 4 minutes to knock this out. So go ahead and explain what we're going to do, Crawley.
Yeah, just talk, look at the NFL. We're in the last few, I think there's 3 weeks left, and kind of give maybe our top 5 teams who we each see as our top 5 teams in the NFL, rank them, and then where do we fit the Bengals at. So I'm going to pull up for myself. You can do what you want, but I need to pull up the NFL standings so I can look at all the teams. So I can start if you want. I mean,
yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm putting the Eagles at number 1.
The Eagles at number 1, huh?
Yep.
For some reason. You're putting the Eagles at 1, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they're the most complete team.
Yeah, I would have said Detroit, but man, their defense.
Right. Oh yeah, I would have said too.
Yeah,
They're so beaten up.
Yeah. So I will say, yeah, I like.
And they just lost David Montgomery too for the year.
Yeah. Man, I mean, the Bills look pretty good, but their defense has given up a ton of points. Yeah, I'll go with you. I'll go with the Eagles. I can rock that with the Eagles at number 1. Number 2.
I'm gonna go the Bills. I mean, I would think I was thinking Lions, but the Bills just literally went to Detroit and beat them. So how do I put the Lions over the Bills?
Yeah.
So I'll put the Bills at number 2.
I mean, Kansas City is sitting there, right? And they are
13-1.
13-1, and here we are. We're not even thinking about them being 1 or 2, right? I mean, that's because you look at them and you're like, going, how are they winning these games? But they are winning the games. I mean, I got to go Kansas City. As much as I don't want to, I don't. But I think Kansas City is, because everything's going to run through Arrowhead, and
yeah, and you're right.
And the refs are going to tweet, that's a late hit, tweet, pass interference, tweet, offsides, tweet.
Mahomes will hobble out on his bad ankle.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the Super Bowl, what do you know?
I'll put them number 3. I'll put the Chiefs at 3 because of what you're saying.
I'll put Bills at 3 then.
Okay.
And then Detroit for me.
Yeah, I'll put Detroit at 4.
And then the 5th team. Whew. Gosh. I mean, is Minnesota? I mean, Minnesota is 12-2.
I know.
I mean, I think, shoot, they might be
I think it's either Minnesota or I was going to say the Ravens, even though I know they're 9-5, which is not
Yeah,
does
their
not put them up
defense is
there.
bad though. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think they'll beat the Steelers this week, though.
yeah, I was gonna say Steelers are 10-4. you know,
Right.
what
I
about the
mean,
Packers? Packers are 10-4 as well, and they're coming on.
yeah. I mean, I'd probably go Minnesota. They're 12-2 right now.
Yeah, that's probably what I would go as well.
And then how far down the list do we put the Bengals? I mean, if you just looking at the AFC, you think the Bengals are better than the Dolphins?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, you can't say they're better than the Chargers because they've lost to the Chargers.
Yeah, because of a missed field goal for crying out loud. But yeah, I know they lost. So,
I mean,
but
better than the Colts.
yeah.
Okay.
Even though they both had somebody dropping freaking a football running across the goal line.
So I'd put them, I guess, behind Texans, Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs.
God, I don't know if I'd put them behind the Steelers. I mean, just because.
I mean, the Steelers scored 44 points on the Bengals.
Yes, they did, but I mean,
with a terrible offense or not a very good offense.
I know. That's why I'm saying, gosh,
it's not the Joe Burrow team. I mean, it's not. If you got to remember, it's a whole team we're talking about here.
I understand that, but man, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, I would have. I mean, I probably would have them sitting right behind the Chargers if you looked right. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just in the AFC because they're better than the Raiders, even though the Patriots beat us. So in your theory, it's like how can we put the Bengals in front of the Patriots?
Well, the Patriots also are at 3-11.
Well,
I mean,
that's
the Chargers are 8-6. So
yeah,
I mean, they're not like if the Chargers were 3-11, I'd say that was a fluke.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line is the Bengals have not beaten a legitimate team yet the entire season. All 6 wins have been against bad teams.
True.
So
true. But I mean,
Chargers they lost to. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Ravens twice.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only and all they got left is the Broncos. That's that legitimate team.
And they have to beat them if they they're
well they got the Steelers, but
they got
so actually Broncos and Steelers.
The Bengals have to win out.
I still don't think Steelers are very good.
No, I don't either. That's why I was questioning. It's like
somehow they're 10-4.
Somehow they're 10-4, right? It's just like whatever. But I don't know. I would put them 8th in the AFC.
Okay, I can go with that.
I mean, I would think they're the if you were to have a little tournament of the teams that didn't make the playoffs, the Bengals would be favored to win it all in that little tournament for the AFC. I would think.
Yeah.
And now with the NFC, adding them in, are they better?
Definitely not as good as the Eagles. Commanders. I mean,
Commanders. Yeah.
I mean, Rams, I'd say no. Seahawks, I don't think they're very good either, but they're still 8-6 somehow.
Right. Buccaneers are 8-6. I mean,
I'd put the Buccaneers over the Bengals. I think they're playing real well right now.
Packers,
and then Lions, Vikings, and Packers for sure.
Yeah. Then you got the Falcons, Cardinals.
They're bad.
7-7.
I'd go Bengals over Cardinals or Falcons.
Yeah. San Francisco, 6-8.
Yeah, I mean,
then you've got the Cowboys who we beat, Saints, Bears, Panthers, Giants.
Yeah, I think you're going Eagles, Commanders, Rams, maybe the Seahawks, Lions, Vikings, Packers, and Buccaneers.
Yeah. I could. I could live with that too. Baker
Unfortunately.
eat us up. Yeah, unfortunately. So there you have it. Go ahead and chime in where you think the Bengals would rank in the NFL based off of right now. Go ahead and let us know. You can give us a shout out here in the chat on YouTube, or you can just find us on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene, and send a little comment in telling us we're nuts that we think the Bengals are that high or that low. One of the two. So,
That high.
so but hey, there is, I think their playoff percentage after the victory went up to 5%, up from 2. The problem is they've got to win out. The Colts have to lose one more game. The Chargers Chargers or Broncos have to lose the remaining 3.
Right. They're saying basically the bank, you got to root for the Chargers on Thursday.
Right. Because who are they playing? The Broncos?
Yeah.
And then
the Broncos play the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Right. So they could lose all 3.
Right. That's why.
Could.
Yeah.
And then
the Colts surely will lose one more game, even though I think they play they play like the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Giants or something.
Right. Yeah, they play 3 teams that are.
That's what will happen. The Bengals will win the final 3. Everything will break for them, except the Colts will win all those games.
They'll win on a last-second field goal from 56 yards or something like that in the dome, right? So, but there is hope.
You just got to get in the tournament.
That's right. Get in the tournament, then we can see where we're at. And the Dolphins, I think, are the other team that.
I think they have to lose one game.
They have to lose one more game, which they probably will, because they have to go to Cleveland, like the 28th.
That's probably not a loss.
But Tua doesn't. They don't play well in the cold, man. I mean,
better be frigid.
Yeah. So, we'll see. All right. Well, we ran a little long with just the 2 of us, so we're going to get out of here. Next week it is our Christmas edition, so be thinking about your wish for the Cincinnati sports franchises. We'll have a couple of wishes for each franchise, and also for Xavier and UC. So those of you out there listening, go ahead and tell us your wish list, and if we like any of them, we'll read them on air for you. And so go ahead, and you can find us at Cincy Sports Scene on Instagram or Twitter. Just go ahead and send that to us. And also on YouTube, if you're watching, you can go in and add it to this chat here. All right. Till next week, for Sam, who's not here, and Charlie's right there. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.
See you, everyone.